Well, here's something I didn't want to have to show. That is certain lesser hogweed blisters. So it's totally in keeping with how they go. There's a line really where the splatter went. Now that happened on Friday, last Friday, and the blisters didn't appear until Monday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yeah. So they took 3 days, well, and some of them have only appeared yesterday. So they took 3 to 5 days to appear. And yeah, the big one, that did hurt. I thought that was a bite, and it was itching, so I scratched it. And it looks like it's going to be scarred for a bit. That's the trouble with them, you can't itch them because they will scar you. That's why they're so dodgy. I mean, that was only a tiny bit of splatter, and I was going careful because I knew I walked into a cobweb because I knew there was some and I'd hit it. It's a beautiful place, but the downsides of these beautiful places are quite down. There are other places I work at or used to work at and live where beautiful, but the downsides are very down. So yeah, so firstly there's the ticks to avoid. Secondly, there is, when you're strimming, there is the stuff that causes this. That doesn't appear for 3 days, 2 to 3 days. But this is it. This is the stuff. This is the culprit. That's its leaf. Basically, that's a little one. There's a bit of a flower stem, so we've cut that. They just appear all over the place now. Oh, I think there's a flower stem. Yeah, this is a flower. Here we go. I mean, obviously it gets, you know, they can get bigger than this, but it's an umbellifer, which means it's a flat head with lots of little flowers on it. You can see there. That's lesser hogweed, and basically the sap of that will blister you. As I found out one day, I'd been strimming, I didn't know what the plant was. It didn't even occur to me. So I strimmed, and then I wiped all the bits off me that were off my arm, you know, because some bits get up onto your sleeve. 2 days later I had a blisters all over my arms and bits of my body. And then I couldn't work out what it was because it was 2 days ago, you know. And then it happened the next year doing the same job, and it also happened to a friend of mine, and we were both sat there with blisters trying to work out. We both worked in different places. We tried to work out what it was, so we just went back through the week and worked out where we were, what we'd done and what was there, and eventually we worked out what it was. So I can now warn you that if you strim and you don't know that plant, you will get blisters and you won't know what it's from. So there's an English plant to learn. It's poisonous. This is the lesser one, not the one in the familiar Genesis song, which I used to have those growing in my garden. I used to live right by probably the patch that he wrote about. But this stuff can grow, you know, that can grow 6, 7, 8 foot tall, whereas the other stuff can grow 12 foot even. You know, it can grow really tall. Although it's fallen over, this is lesser hogweed. As you can see, its stems go right back to here, so I am going to touch it because I'm not going to get any sap on me, but we are looking at, it comes up to there on me, and they can go higher than that. They can go to 6 foot. There's some more there. Now here is a hogweed, and this one's only quite low really, but look, you can see the leaves there. Now here's some more leaf of the lesser hogweed. Now if you look at those over there, what you'll notice is they're just stalks with no head on. And that, I know it's normally when you cut a head off, that's it, Alice in Wonderland, isn't it? Normally when you cut a head off, you usually take the whole stem down to the nearest leaf or bud, just to make it look tidier. But here, if you do that and take it right down, what happens is it can then shoot up some other flower stems which then grow low to the ground and you can miss them. And we want to get them all, because the secret of weeding out anything is to just keep cutting the flower heads off. As many as you can, as often as you can, and with pulling, hogweed would be dug out and there'd be too much to do. So to stop it spreading, and every now and then you just cut the leaves off. That's the other way, defoliate. Because basically if you starve, that's how a plant feeds, is through its leaves. So if you cut its leaves off, it's like sewing your mouth shut. It can't eat anything. So it has to grow new ones. So each time you do it, it gets weaker and weaker. So that's why we cut the flowers as high as possible, because otherwise what it means is you have to bend down more, which causes more problems for you. Here's another one, and you can see this one seems slightly thicker. So I'm not entirely sure if there are different types, because this one's got more red hairy stems than that one over there. So I'm not sure about that, but they are all the same. They will leave that on your arm. And that is now 3 weeks old. And you can see it's sort of scarred. So I'm going to head round there and I can show you the kind of size they can get to, but I've got to fight my way through to get that one. So that's the other secret to weeding anything out. You've got to go into the dark corners, because that's where they all lurk, produce seeds and spread it about. And I don't just mean hogweed, there are other weeds that do that as well. Sorry about the plane. It's been awful today. I've been trying to get 10 minutes of sound footage just of nature. I can't even get 2 minutes without a plane going over. In fact, I haven't even got 1 minute without a plane going over. As I was saying, they can lurk in dark places. There's a bit of a clump of them here. Probably getting on for a dozen around and about. So obviously, judging by the height of this one, let's see. Well, this one's probably no. It's probably as tall as me, this one. As you can see, the umbilical head. And a close-up of the leaves there. But if you need to identify it, then get a book and have a look. Or a few books. Don't get one with illustrations. Apologies to all your illustrators out there, but if you want to identify a plant, an illustration isn't really that good. One thing I probably should mention is always wear gloves when you cut these, because the sap from those cut ends in there, that's what will blister you.